Dow's down 68. Let's get to Chicago and Rick Santelli. Rick?
Well, this is going to be an unusual Santelli exchange. I'm calling it, version 2.1 for basically population growth. No, it's not a software product. Later on today, around 11:20, I'm going to be talking to Bill Frez about an article he wrote, which was so thought-provoking. But one of the areas it provoked me to think was global birth rates, or actually more appropriate, fertility rates. And this is a big deal, especially when you see some of the numbers. Okay, let's start at the beginning. All these facts are from globalhealthfacts.org. 2.1 is just kind of the easy number that if you want an expanding next generation, you have two parents, you have to have 2.1 kids to make the next generation larger. But that is a little oversimplified, and real quickly I need to tell you why. Because things affect it like mortality rates, percentages of boys versus girls, immigration, life expectancy. So, according to the fact book, if you look at their term, and it's a little clumsy, but total fertility rate at replacement globally was actually 2.33. But for simplicity purposes, let's keep it 2.1. And let's look at the globe. Now, I looked at the long list, and at the top of the list with the highest fertility rates was Niger. Now, if we look at some countries that, we're somewhat familiar with in good and negative ways, Afghanistan 5.64, Iraq 3.58, you get the picture. Mexico, India, 2.58, 2.27. But here's why it's important. Think about the big engines of economic growth in the world. France, 2.08. The U.S., 2.06, Ireland 2.01, and in red, of course, they're going to be looking at next generations that are going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. The UK, well under 2, Canada, China 1.55, and we know they've actually implemented policies because they want to control population. In the bigger picture, fooling around with Mother Nature in this way could have some hugely negative consequences. Russia 1.43, Germany 1.41. At the very bottom of the list, other than certain countries where the information is not available, the bottom of the list was Singapore at 0.78. So I know that we're dealing with so many issues nowadays, and I blow a gasket over many of them, whether it's fiscal cliff, underfunded liabilities, 120 trillion in the U.S. At some point, growth is the answer. But when you start considering where the engines of growth have been and what their population declines may be, it makes one wonder, where is the horsepower from global growth going to come from? And believe me, this at some point needs to affect the picks in your stock portfolio. Carl, back to you.